So first, you create a fake gangster culture using movies and cinema. And trust me, there's a real gangster culture too. And then you get a lot of kids involved and a lot of drugs and a lot of money, right? And then you give them travel. And so the term mean mugging means people drive around, sit in nice vehicles and scare people by looking at them and mean mugging them and using their little magical tricks to go ding, 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 and like fuck with their heads. But unfortunately what happens is a motherfucker like me comes home and realizes the reason that everybody said it was dangerous for people to come around and help me is because I'd figured this out. And so all the people I grew up around apparently been taking vacations for years with their families, and then in addition being taught, well, basically to pretend they're dangerous mafia types or world terrorist types or scary people, when in fact it's just the group of folks from Reston, Virginia, traveling around the planet on our tax dollars, diplomatic immunity, and founding companies like Microsoft and the internet and things like that. Which brings me to the fact that it's the Pentagon and people like the NSA and the FBI and the CIA are all pretending to be mafia people all around the planet, while the real motherfuckers are going, really? Because if they watch this, they'll go, really? Because honestly, a bunch of people have approached me here. No one's actually ever flashed a gun at me. They've shown me knives. They've imparted on the fact they have guns. One person told me he had a gun and he should shoot me. But then recently someone stood next to me as protection, which I didn't understand. And he had his knife out, but he also showed me he had a gun right there. Now, on the converse side of that, some of them are killers and assassins. And one of them, I believe, is somebody I know whose his dad had a gun tucked in his back. He's also frequents the White House Peace Vigil area. And he's one of those bicycle guys. So those guys pack gats in their back. They keep a gun in the back, like back here. And he actually showed me his gun on the bus 2 years ago when I was getting really, really, really agitated in the city and getting in people's grills and upsetting people. He was on the bus and he's like, I got it. He basically flexed his gun, and then I started screaming at him and he got off the bus. I've seen him a couple of times since then. Point in case is, there are real gangsters and real motherfuckers who will shoot you. A lot of them are locked up or are only let out when they're going to do the dirty, and then they go back in. And then there's other motherfuckers out here who are a lot more disciplined and able to keep it together. So these are things I figure out. When a group of kids is assigned to beat on you, they're not going to kill you. They're just going to scare you. And I grew up as one of those kind of kids. Not that somebody would organize and say, go get them like they do around here, but to the point that I used to run around with a bunch of kids, and when we were drunk on the weekend or whatever, we didn't mind punching somebody or knocking them on the ground and stomping them or beating them. It was fun. Oh well, we were drunk children with no parental supervision, at least I was. These other kids, I guess their parents were, well, global leaders and diplomats and top news people, or, you know, people like the company Browning, I guess it's the gun company, or, a lot of the names that I grew up around, their names are on buildings here or on products like Kessiker, or it's difficult to tell you what I'm trying to express. It's difficult to tell you what I'm trying to express. And when I'm being handled by the streets, but then when I get devices from my community services worker and it says I'm part of the MTV family, nah, shorty, I ain't. Although I did grow up watching MTV, but I ain't on their team. Because if I was on their team, they wouldn't let me fucking starve in the streets and all this bad shit that's been happening to me, or sending their friends to walk by and go, hey, sorry, I'm spraying it while I'm saying it. Hey, how's it going, bro? And I'm like, damn, good to see you, man. It's been like 30 years. And I'm all excited. And they talk to me for about a minute and then leave. 2 days ago, I saw one person. He gave me $5. That was so generous, you government worker who's infiltrated the DC hardcore scene and worldwide, Dave Stone. And then Jim Doringe, $20 for 1 minute of conversation. Hey, good to see you. But you guys should have fucking actually given a fuck, instead of being forced and told to do that like little girls and little kids. Let's take a look around town, see what other dumb shit I figured out today.
Hey, this is Neil. He used to live with me for a while at Triangle Park before I was nearly beaten to death on December 30th. He was there the day and they jumped in. After the two guys beat me with the weapons and I died, and I came back to life and saw them all, I tried to run again, and then they caught me and beat me to death. Except, guess what? I lived. I'm still alive. It's weird to see people around you in the community who beat you nearly to death. It's terrible. Who, this guy? No, he didn't help beat me to death. He's just friends with Keith Anderson and Tony Brew, who are fucking up my housing and all my stuff here in DC.
You ever wonder who's blocking your paperwork with your housing in the city? Hola, Jovito. That woman's part of them people that run the White House Peace Vigil. She's been showing up around me since I squatted at the Peace Vigil. And the first couple times I came in to sit in the galleries of Congress, she showed up and sat in to try and like get in my shit. She's one of them evil bitches. I wouldn't even give her a qualification to call her a witch or a holy woman. She's just a devil from fucking hell. And she actually from the back looks like a man. Her spirit is a man's spirit, but her body's an evil witch bitch. Nah, I can't give her witch credit. She's just the evil fucking human demon of the evil kind. She's been trying to scare that officer.
And I only actually talked to her once. She told me she worked for the State Department. Hey, State Department, does this lady work for you?
So you know how people record the so-called police for doing bad things? I record other people for doing so-called bad things, like this woman who follows me around DC ever since I was at the White House Peace Vigil years ago. Ha ha. The funny thing is when Native women say that they're cool with slavery and they don't mind it, in their magic third ear using ESP and clairvoyance and clairvoyance. Now in the United States, most people don't talk about it, but in native cultures, everybody's well aware of magic and the powers of God. So for those two women to say they're cool with slavery and they think it's funny and they make drug notions, well, fuck them. And that's how I roll, because I am people of God and they just are two brown women who like slavery and think it's funny.
So then you got all these art students, or so-called art students, who really think that they're international spies and some network of international intrigue and power and taking things over. Unfortunately, they mostly go to art school like the Corcoran or NYU for experimental theater and other things. And in Washington, D.C., they all wear this fake logo brand called Fjallraven Kanken or something. And this is their patch that they put on everything. They list it online as a clothing label on Google, but it's not. It's kind of like all the folks that wear Volo. Worldwide, it's about being able to recognize other people's hand signals, actions, maybe some keywords or a few key logos or brands from other companies. So this is one of your clues is to figure out who the fake scary people are. And then you have to really remember there are some real scary people. And they're usually military, not art students or rich families. And consequently, this same area of Washington, D.C., Ward 2, is represented by the Valknut, or Golden Triangle. Go figure this out. Look, it's also a replacement for the neo-Nazi or white supremacist symbol called the swastika used by Germany in World War II and beyond, both before and after. Washington, D.C. is scary. Are you scared to come to Washington, D.C.? Are you scared of me? What the fuck are you scared of me for? I used to be an ESL teacher. I taught immigrants how to speak English with a school system, Spotsylvania County Schools. Also, I was a job coach, also known as an employment specialist, where I served people with disabilities to get work and help them keep work, as well as helping returning citizens pre and post release get work and keep work, in addition to other jobs I've done in the past. I have no military background, no weapons training, and I've never, ever really even been in too many fights at all in my entire life. So who's spreading the lies and the rumors? And hey, this here is a man who's also part of the gang from Triangle Park, where I was nearly murdered on December 30th. It's a man who pretends to be a Portuguese woman or some sort of thing. Yeah, a woman named Adama introduced me to her. Adama's definitely a woman who says she's from the Gambia. I don't know who this fucked up weird man is. And perhaps what's most scary is that murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and human traffickers are running around pointing their finger at me for lying and for being a drug addict. Except for I just smoke medical cannabis and I don't really actually lie that much and have a really good resume. Oh well, these are called emotions. I have a lot of emotions. I'm sorry that you all hide yours. And you hide your backgrounds and who you really are. Oh, people will take your money. That's how money was founded. On murder. The original dollars were called silver certificates, also known as redskins. That's what they paid people for when they cut the tops of people's heads off and traded them in as scalps for money. Yeah, you know the people who lived here before the colonists invented a story and then invented a revolution and invented a bunch of religions worldwide to see if they could take the whole planet. It's kind of a working plan, but when I'm one of your major actors in your plan, you should have included me. Instead, you diluted me. Cheers. This is called green tea. I don't drink alcohol either, you punks. And when I say that, I say it with a KS, because you are punks. I am PUNX, world fucking wide.